so if you are finally ready to start selling AI digital tumbler wraps on Etsy, then this video is going to be for you, as it's going to walk you through exactly step by step from start to finish how to sell these types of digital products on Etsy, even if you are brand new to Etsy or if you are brand new to AI or both and just starting out. If you are new to the channel, I am Bailey, the owner of Bailey Design Co., a 7-figure Etsy shop, and I've now just crossed over 377,000 sales of mostly these digital tumbler wraps on Etsy. And so I now teach others how to do the same on this YouTube channel and in my online communities. So to start off, this is a tumbler. So it is a 20-ounce stainless steel tumbler, and specifically a sublimation tumbler. So the digital design of what we sell on Etsy is what goes printed on this particular substrate. Now, Sublimation has hundreds of different types of products, and a 20-ounce tumbler is really just one, but it is one of the most popular Sublimation products. That is why there are tens of thousands of these types of designs selling on Etsy actively. Basically, to make one of these, a crafter will print a design that they get most of the time off of Etsy. They will print it with a special type of printer with a sublimation type ink or a converted eco tank printer that will print this. And then they will wrap the piece of paper around this tumbler and press it via a heat press or in a convection oven that is specifically for tumbler pressing. You can then go ahead and peel the paper, and then you will get the beautiful design that you just saw, and that is basically how you make a sublimation tumbler. So where digital design sellers like me on Etsy come into play is where we are making this design so that the crafter can easily print this off, and it's already sized and formatted for their tumbler so that they just have to press it onto the cup, and then usually they sell it to their end customer. So in order to sell these designs successfully, you want to start off with the first step of researching a either trending design or an evergreen design that often gets searched year around. So when I say evergreen, I mean something that is highly searched for year round, like a mom tumbler wrap or a teacher tumbler wrap, because people give gifts to teachers year round, and moms have birthdays year round, or a mom becomes a new mom. And so therefore an evergreen design is something that is actively being searched for on Etsy year round, whereas a trending design is usually something that can be seasonal, meaning like for Halloween, or something that pops new onto the scene, like the new coquette style trend that we're all seeing on Etsy right now. So how do you first find an evergreen design that has low competition? I usually teach all of my members that when you are just starting out and you have a brand new shop, you want to go for designs that have a low competition, meaning there are not a ton of sellers selling it, but it still has a good high demand. The other types of designs to sell for new sellers are, again, those trending designs, but they still do need to be low competition. So one of the best ways to find a low competition, highly searched for design keyword is to use a keyword research tool like Evergreen. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop over into my computer, and we're gonna start this process as if we were just starting out from the beginning, and how I would take a approach to start selling these had I never sold these on Etsy before, and show you the different ways that you can get design type ideas. So over here in eRank, I've just typed in the base keyword of tumbler wrap. I don't want to put any type of particular tumbler wrap in here, because all I'm doing at this point is getting ideas for certain types of designs of a tumbler wrap that could potentially have low competition. So down here, you'll start to see all of the keyword combinations with the words tumbler wraps, and then you will have the little search trend, which this is showing how many monthly searches on average this particular keyword is getting. And that's also visible here. So it's an average of 10,998 per month. I will say to make sure that you don't think that this is every single month getting 10,000, because it's averaged over the past 12 months. this is the amount of clicks that it's getting. And then the next column is the click-through rate, so how often people are clicking through. And then finally is the competition. So red is obviously very high in competition, so we want to stay away from ones like those. And even if you are a new seller, you still want to stay away from the orange and the yellow, as they still are higher competition. So what we're going for is trying to find green across the board. So something that has high searches and still low competition, which would make it be green. So for this example walkthrough, I'm going to use the keyword unicorn tumbler wrap because it has a really good average search throughout the year, averaging around 917 per month, and then it still has a really low competition of about 5,000. So this is really low and something good to go after if you are just starting out. So my next step in the process is to hop over to Etsy to see what types of designs are actually selling. It really doesn't do any good just to design a unicorn tumbler wrap that you might be interested in or that your particular style would align with, because that's often not what is selling on Etsy. So we need to look at what current trends and what current styles are actually selling so that we can make our design in line with and even better than what the competition is having put out, so that we have a better chance of standing out and actually making sales. So if I just scroll through this first page after having typed in unicorn tumbler wrap up here, I see that a lot of the designs are these really cutesy, like for kid type styles. I'm seeing some that have a spot for personalization, meaning that the crafter can add someone's name on there. Then there's also like these fantasy type ones like this one and this one. Definitely don't do ones like this where there is Tinkerbell on here, as that is sure to get you in trouble eventually, as that is a copyright and trademark type of design there. But overall, there is quite a variety. I'm seeing lots of rainbows and of course, lots of rainbow colors. So that being said, I have in mind for the type of design that I want to make, which is heavily influenced by a particular style trend, which is like all about sparkles and glittery, and a particular style aesthetic is to use the word sparkle core in your prompt. And so that is what I'll be doing. On the flip side, if you were not using a keyword research tool like eRank just to find evergreen designs, you could take the other approach and try to sell things that are trending, meaning they are super popular and usually related to something with pop culture or have something to do with a particular style. Again, like the coquette style theme, but they still have low competition. My design club for Etsy focuses purely on this. So every day I provide a daily low competition, very trendy type of product, whether that is a tumbler wrap, a type of clip art, a individual PNG design, say for a t-shirt, or even something like junk journal designs, along with the prompts to actually make these in several different AI generators, such as Canva, Ideogram, DALL-E 3, and Kittl, and Midjourney as well. This is especially helpful for new sellers if you struggle with the research side and also with prompting, as it gives you that head start and you're able just to take the prompt and tweak it to exactly what you're looking for and make it into something complete and unique and save you a ton of time in the process. So if you are interested in that, then be sure to check out that link in the description. It will be the first one and also the pinned comment. I really do recommend and stress that my members do try to list 50-50, so 50% evergreen styles and 50% trending products, because what this will do with your shop is give it a really good balance of getting an influx of sales with those trending products right away, and also give you a steady balance of incoming evergreen searches every single month, regardless of what month it is and regardless of if the style and the trending product has slowly drained out. And so you really are setting yourself up for sales year round if you take this approach. So before I used AI, which was last year, I was a person that used commercial graphics, and sometimes I would mess around in Procreate and design my own elements because I was not a graphic designer. So I have zero graphic design experience. Again, I used things like Creative Fabrica to make my designs and compile them all together. And then AI came out. I was one of the last ones to finally convert and start using AI, but it was at that time that it was either use AI or the shop was going to die, just because I was not able to get out the amount of designs that competitors were doing on Etsy with AI when it first came out. Since using AI and switching over, I was able to scale my shop significantly faster. Also, it saved me a ton of time. In the beginning, I only used Midjourney and then started to branch out into different types of AI tools that are out there right now. And now I currently use 4 regularly. That is not to say that you need to use 4 different ones all of the time, but just pick and choose the one that works best for you, depending on your budget needs and the types of products that you'll be creating. So next it is time to take your design inspiration, and I do want to say inspiration, we never want to copy. We always want to try and improve and make something better, as that is the best way to get sales, because copying a bestseller usually will just result in 0 sales, because the bestseller is already currently ranked with sales and reviews. So it is in our best interest just to create something unique and better for the marketplace. So as I mentioned before, in my design club, I do teach and use a wide variety of different AI generators. And what I generally recommend for new sellers is just to choose the one that you are most comfortable with and with the style that you want to create. All of these generators do give out different styles that are vastly different from each other. So if you are going to be creating something that is more realistic along the lines of something like this type of unicorn, even though it's a little bit trendy, or this one, then I would say those types of results are best produced in something like Midjourney. If you're looking to create something more along the lines of this, then you'd be wanting to look at types of AI generators like Kittle or like Dolly 3. But for this demonstration, I am going to use Kittle because it is one of the most beginner-friendly tools where you have to do the least amount of work outside of Kittle, meaning that you can create your design at the correct size and upscale and edit all in one place. So over here in Kittle, you are just going to want to click on New Project, and here is where you will choose your artboard. So for a typical 20-ounce tumbler, the size is 9.3 by 8.2 inches. And then I'm just going to make the resolution be at 300 and then click Create. So this sets our artboard at the correct size for most 20-ounce tumblers. So the crafter or the seller will not need to do anything further with the sizing, and that is always best for the buyer. And so next we are going to move into the AI tool, which is down here. It is just called Kittle AI, and then click on Image Generator. Now for this, I did already go ahead and format this prompt. And so I will have this copied in the description because it is quite long and detailed. And I will just leave the aspect ratio on 1:1. That seems to work best for these tumblers, and I can stretch them out to the way that I need to do. And for this, I'm going to click on Image Style. So with Kittle, you have the ability to choose many different types of image styles. If you are creating clip art, they do have an entire type of clip art style that you can choose from, or different types of digital art like the one that I just did. If you are looking for something that is more retro in general or something that is more realistic, then you can toggle in between the types of image styles and get vastly different types of results without having to change your prompt, which makes it really, really easy and fast to use. Okay, so this is what I got on the first try, and I actually really like it. It kind of almost reminds me of like the pixel art, but not quite. And that is because it's really pulling in all of the sparkle core and like glitter type of keywords that I used in the prompt, but it's really different from what I saw out there. And I really like the colors and the little types of glitter effects, so I am going to stick with this one. I do want to explain something at this point. And that is with tumblers, there is something known as a seamless design and not a seamless design. So if you're looking at the edges of this design, if you were to wrap this completely around a cylinder type of object, this would be the back. So this is where that middle of the line of the sunset would be. And then on the two types of the sides would be where the back would meet up, and it would be a very harsh line where this end of the tree would wind up into these green trees, and this pink part, as well as the tail, would wind up into the branches of the tree. So it is not a really seamless effect. So I am going to pull up one from my own shop to show you the differences. Well, actually, we'll just use the unicorn ones that are already up, since there's a lot out here. So with this one, as it's rotating, you can see that there are no harsh lines because it's actually just a single image that does not ever meet. So that part, that's all the white gap, that is where the back of the tumbler would be. So this technically would be considered a seamless design. Again, this one here is also a seamless design, as there are no parts of the image that overlap and are cut off. It's just all a glittery seamless image. And let's see if we can see another one. So this one is a really good example here because it actually has a ton of florals, kind of like the one that we are looking at making, but yet you can see where all of those flowers wind up together. They all blend together seamlessly. So it is one pattern that just wraps around. And I will show you how to check if your design is seamless or not once you've fixed it in just a moment in a free app just on your browser that you'll be able to pull up. But this is the difference between making it seamless or not. So personally, I make all of my designs seamless now. I used to not do this before there was lots of easy AI tools to fix this, but now it is just a personal preference to have them all seamless or have that transparent type background where there is no type of other end of the object meeting with each other, if that makes sense. I'm actually going to download this and save this both ways, both as making it seamless and not seamless, so that you can see the difference. Again, it does not mean that you will not be successful if you don't sell seamless designs. It just is a personal preference by me as someone who used to make and sell these types of tumblers, that I prefer them to be seamless. And a lot of customers really do prefer them to be seamless as well, or have a completely transparent background where they are not messing with the seam and trying to line up those types of objects like flowers and other parts of the design. So next in Kittl, I am going to just click on AI Image Upscaler, which is right here. And what this is doing is upscaling the image to a high enough quality that it can be printed and used. I will say that if you are using a different tool, an AI image generator tool like Midjourney or like Canva, you will need to upscale the image in an upscaler outside of those, as you cannot upscale them within those types of AI generators. So I do have many other videos that go into depth if you are designing in Midjourney or if you are designing in Canva, or a different platform, on how to upscale your images. With Kittl, this is one of the benefits, that you can just upscale directly in here and not have to move off the platform. So next, I'm just going to go ahead and pull this out until it meets the entire canvas area, meaning there are no white parts showing, so that the design image area is completely filled out. And then I'm just going to click on download and make sure that this little button, optimize quality, is turned on here. Okay, so now we are moving on to the next part in the process, which is making our design seamless. And so to do this, we are over in Photoshop. And yes, I know a lot of people do not like using Photoshop. However, the capability to easily make any design seamless only takes about a minute, and it is about 3 different buttons, so it is really, really beginner friendly. I don't use Photoshop for really anything other than just making the design seamless, and also to bulk mock up all of my designs, and we'll go over that in just a moment. But it really is a very simple way. So all I'm doing is clicking on new file up here, and then I am going to create this at the same size, so 9.3 by 8.2 inches. So you may need to put that in if you don't already have that as a preset. And then I'm just going to drag in my design here, and it will fill out the majority of the canvas because it's already set to that size. And then I'm just hitting enter. And next, I'm just making sure that my little select tool is highlighted up here. I know that the screen is cutting this off because of the recording thing, but it is just your top little button up here that says select tool, and you just want to make sure that that is pushed. And then you're just dragging this over to the center. You'll have some little guidelines pop up right there. And then I'm just going to do Control C, Control V to duplicate this, and then drag over the other side. So now what you're seeing is what the back of the tumbler would look like if you just left it as is, which we are not going to do. So next we're going to just select the next little tool, which is the rectangle marquee tool, or I believe that's what it's called. Don't quote me on this. Again, not a Photoshop user. I just use it for this. And so that is going to let us grab this right here. And so I'm just going to grab this and pull it right down the center. I don't like to pull very much other than both like barely, maybe even, I want to say maybe 1/4 of an inch on each side, because I don't want it to get all warpy looking. And then I'm going to click on generate fill right here and click on generate. You don't need to type anything in. The AI is going to match each of the sides as much as possible to make this a seamless pattern or design. And this only takes a couple minutes, and it's going to actually give us a few different options so we can kind of arrow through them and see which one looks best. So as you can see, the first one was the best, though it still did give us a harsh line here. And so when it does this, I'll just click on generate again to see if we can get it to come up with something different. It did it perfectly down here, as you can see this part of the design. So I might work on this one with the other tool if it continues to do these harsh lines, which it looks like it is. So we're gonna leave it as this. So this is a good example to show you on a very detailed design like this, how you can still keep playing with it to make it work. I've just selected the next one down, which is the lasso tool. So I'm going to just take parts of it. So I'm going to take this tree part here and kind of just circle around into this tree part here, and then select generate fill again. So the second one was best because it kind of looks like the branch goes into there and then some vine goes into that part of the tree. So I'm actually fine with that. Next is this like little black area here. So I'm just circling that part and again selecting generate fill or generate a fill and generate, and that's really it. If I can just get that and then one little part down here that is bothering me, then I'll probably leave it and call it good. Okay, so that worked fine there. Again, this is kind of harsh, so I am circling this purple where it meets up the pink again and trying to fix that portion. And that did a pretty good job of blending it. This one is even better, and that one was worse. So I'm gonna leave it on number 2. And then finally, this little area down here, I'm gonna try and fix this as much as possible, and then we're gonna call it good. So this one kind of just melded it into a bunch of colors. This one is kind of a little bit better, and I like this one the best because it kind of looks like the rainbow swirls that are coming up from the ground are just kind of melting into the vine. Otherwise, that's what I'm just gonna call that it's doing. And so for me, this is good enough to just go ahead and use this one. So at this point, I'm just going to select all of my layers over here by selecting Control and clicking on all of these different layers down here, and then right clicking and select merge layers. So now they are all just in one piece. So then now I'm going back up here to my little tool at the very top that you can't see, the select tool, clicking on the entire design and doing Control A, Control J to duplicate that. Then I can delete that generated fill layer, and now I can just grab this original one and move it back to the center so that we have the main part of the design in the front. And there we go. So now I'll just go ahead and merge these two. So Control and merge layers. And now I will just go ahead and save the design. Okay, so our next step in the process is to create what is called our mockup. So This is for our main Etsy photo listing, and ideally you want to actually create a few of these because Etsy allows you quite a few different image slots, so you want to include different variations of your mockups as well as maybe instructions on actually how to use the design, or that it is a digital product versus not a physical product. If you do have questions like this, I highly encourage you to visit my shop and look at how I structure the listings as far as the type of images that I use and what is on those additional images. I will just let you know that I have several that say, like give you an image of the flat lay so you can see the entire design, as well as one actually on the mockup itself, and then several different that specify what type of file it is and how to use it. So the mockup is actually just the Tumbler itself, just displayed in 3 different sections so that you can see the entire design. I will say that not all mockups are created equally, so do be sure that when you are looking at the best sellers, when you are doing your research, to make sure that you choose a mockup that looks aesthetically the same as what is currently selling. There's a reason why mockups do have an impact and they perform differently depending on the type of one that you are using. So I always recommend that you try to choose one that is like a 3D, meaning you can see like gloss and it actually has a 3D type aspect to it, so it looks more realistic, versus a very flat design, meaning something that doesn't have a lot of contrast and it looks like it was dropped on. So this would be an example, though the other one is a little bit better, but it doesn't have any 3D aspects, so it looks really what is known as flat. And so that is not a type of mockup that I would traditionally recommend. You also want to make sure that your mockup cups are very close together and not widespread apart. So an example would be something like this, because when they are close together like these ones, it's more easy to see the design in full versus when the mockup has the cups actually spaced very widely apart. So that being said, there are several ways that you can mock up your designs depending on what software you want to use. So many people who do not do this in bulk the way that I do will choose to use something like Canva. So I will show you how to use a Canva frame mockup, and then I'll also show you how to do this in bulk. Again, if you are more advanced or more established, I would highly recommend checking out all of my videos where you can design in bulk or you can mock up in bulk, as I do have many of those on this channel, as this is purely showing you step by step the individual pieces of it. And while the better that you get and the more advanced that you get, you can definitely become way more faster if you incorporate tools by bulk generating your designs. And there is a really good video that shows you how to bulk generate your designs with My Designs, and then also move into the generation process as far as bulk uploading them, all within just a few minutes. So that will be this video right here if you want to check that out after you are finished with this. So over here in Canva, I've just dropped in this Canva frame template. You can search these up on Etsy, Canva Mockup Tumbler right here, and there's several different types. If you have Creative Fabrica, these are also on there as well. But these are ones where you can just drag the image into Canva and save it. So I will just go ahead and upload my design here. So this is the seamless one right here. And then I'll just drag it onto the mockup here. So I've just clicked right click and send backward. So there you can see that it still does have the 3D effect, so it has some glossiness to it. The images are pulled in the tumblers are pulled in very close to each other, making the design very easy to look at as a whole and make sure that this is what you are getting is what you want. And so then you would just go ahead and download this as a PNG, and this is ready to go up on your Etsy listing. So the way that I currently do my mockups is with a plugin called Bulk Mockup, meaning that I can dump in as many different types of mockups that I want into a design folder that is already set up, and then dump in all of my designs at the same time, because I am someone that designs all of my products at one time, once a week, and then I just dump them all into this folder for it to mock up all at one time. I do have an entire video about how to set bulk mockup right here, and this is specifically for the 20-ounce tumbler design, so I do recommend watching that if this is something that you want to set up once, and then that way you can just always drop in your designs and be able to mock them up all at one time. So since I am going to show you the difference between each of these designs, I'm going to just click on them and then drop them into this design folder. I'm actually going to leave in some older ones that I've had in here from last week, just to show you how it kind of sifts through all of the designs that you have in your design folder, and then they all wind up in this export folder after you are finished. And I currently only have 3 different mockups in there. I could have 10 in there if I wanted to, but I just have one with my logo, and then one that is a flat lay, and then one that is a blank one. So since I already have bulk mockup installed, I just click on start generating here, and that just goes through all of the mockups that I have in that folder, along with pulling all of the designs from the design folder, and then mocks them up all at once so that I am not manually dragging these all into Canva one by one and downloading them one by one, which can be very tedious if you are doing this at scale, which eventually you want to be. And so you can do this with tools like My Designs as well. They have a really good bulk mockup generator if you are using My Designs to list as well. I currently, just because I am kind of stuck in my ways and have a VA that does this process for me at this point. So this is just kind of what we're dealing with right now, though we may use My Designs in the future to do that whole listing process. Okay, so now that those have finished generating, you will see that they are all here and they all are just arranged in order. So here's the one without the logo, the flat lay, so that you can see the entire design, and then the one with the logo. So this is the one where it is not seamless, and it is very difficult to see because this is actually on the tumbler and it wraps around. But if you take a look at the flat lay one, someone who is a very seasoned crafter or has made any type of tumbler and knows the difference between seamless or not, they would be able to look at this flat lay and know that this does not line up with this. It is not the same type of image or design, and it does not meld together correctly. And then if you look at this one, which is seamless, you can see that there's greenery all right here, which matches into this type of greenery over here, as well as all of the florals. So an easy way to check this, if you are not comfortable with just eyeballing it and knowing just based on experience, is to visit a site called Pattern Checker. It is just a free site to check if your designs are seamless or not. And again, that is patternchecker.ai, so right here. And you'll just want to click on upload your image. So if you want to check the first one, this is the one that is not seamless. So you can see this harsh line on either side. We don't care about the top or the bottom because that is the top and the bottom of the cup, and they wind up ending at some place, whereas on the sides, they keep repeating. So here, we'll just go ahead and upload the one that we made seamless, and you can see that there is not a harsh line. You can definitely tell that this one is melding into it, but it's not a black line where both of the sides just did not wind up meeting at all. It blends in with the other types, and there's definitely better ways to do this. As far as I could have spent a little bit more time on this one, but all in all, it's fine. Especially for me, I would totally sell this as is, and most people would be completely fine with this versus the really black harsh line. Okay, so now that you actually have your design created and your file ready to go, it is actually time to list it on Etsy. So if you are doing this individually, like just manually adding your listings one at a time, then you will just navigate to the listings tab here in your Etsy shop and click on add a listing. You'll want to select digital files, which is right here. Then you'll select who made it. I did. What is it? It's a finished product or finished design. And then when did you make it? You made it this year, and it was made in help with an AI generator. This is new, so do make sure that you select this. If you are hand making your designs in Procreate or in Photoshop, then you can select it was created and designed entirely by me, and you will be fine with that. Next, you'll just click on continue, and this is going to give you all of your spaces to add in your images and your title and your keywords and your description. So first I'm going to add up to 10 photos, and I normally have my ones that I copy over, or rather we have in Vela, which is a bulk uploading tool. I do have an entire video on that right here on if you want to bulk add all of your designs at one time into templates that are already pre-built, so that you don't have to manually go in every time that you're adding listings and do this one at a time, as again, this can be very time consuming. And if you are interested in building a large shop that generates a lot of money and scale it, then you need to be using tools because that is really the only way that it can be scalable. So I've just pulled up this other design of mine just to show you for reference some of the other types of images that I have. I just have a basic screenshot of how to actually download digital files. This just helps with customer service requests later, and people can just reference how they actually download their Etsy files once they purchase them. And then I also have a disclaimer saying that this is a digital download, that it is not a physical product, even though we all know that some people still don't read all of this information over here. It specifically says in the item details that it is a digital download. It says it in the title, and it says it on the image as well. It just helps to protect you if anyone wants to reach out for a refund or cancellation after they've downloaded it. If I can tell that it really was a mistake and they really did not understand, then I typically will refund it. But again, it is up to your discretion, as technically Etsy does not allow refunds on digital products. So normally I would add these images also into my listing here as well, so that I normally end up with 6 or 7 different images filled out. And again, since I build all of my listings over in Vela, where we already have preset templates for each of the types of products that we sell, we don't have to manually go in and add our titles and our keywords and our descriptions and our pricing because we've done that. So again, reference that video if you want to set that up in the beginning so you don't need to do this manually. So typically this is what one of my titles will look like. There will be some type of design specific keywords up at the front, and then followed by more broad type of keywords. So 20-ounce skinny tumbler, sublimation design, digital download, and so on and so forth. If you do struggle with SEO, the tools such as eRank can give you all of the related keywords and help you with this, as well as use their AI to quickly write a description for this as well. And you can also use that to build out your templates and set that up so that you, again, are not doing this every single time. So next, you'll just want to add your digital file. So this is the actual file that the customer will receive. And so when they purchase this and then get the link to this, this is what they will be downloading. Again, all of my descriptions basically look the same because they are on a pre-built template. And so this would already be over here once I pushed it over. The next image or the next slot is your price. So whatever you are pricing it at, and then your quantity. So mine are always set to $999, which is the max that you can do. And that way I do not have to be manually renewing this when they sell out, as I really do not have time for that. So the next thing is your category here. If you start just by typing it in, you'll get suggestions. So if you were selling PNG designs or clip art, such as this right here, I just typed in clip art and it's going to give me the one that you actually need to choose. So for mine, I typically don't choose it clip art unless it is clip art, which it's rare that I actually will sell that. So since it's a digital art file, I tend to leave it on digital prints, which is a digital print, which is right here. And then it will automatically list it in the 7 different categories that are related. I never add anything into my primary or secondary color because there are usually so many different colors that I don't want it to categorize it by just say pink or blue because there's many different colors. I did start doing this earlier, but you can choose the size here. And so mine is 9.3 by 8.2, and that is inches. And that is really it. So next is your tags, which these are just the keywords that people would be using to type in to find your product. So this would be things like the unicorn tumbler wrap, which is the main one that we found over there in eRank. Again, mine are preset where I have the majority of all 10 of them being the basic types of keywords that these would be. So sublimation, Tumbler, Tumbler design, Tumbler wrap. And then I usually will only add 3 to 4 niche specific ones. So that would be like unicorn tumbler wrap, mythical tumbler wrap, fantasy tumbler wrap, pony tumbler wrap, or rainbow tumbler wrap, for example. Finally, down here at the bottom is your shop section. So if you don't have these set up, you are going to want to set up specific sections that people can easily find your types of products. So mine are categorized by the type of design. So this one would fall under either animals or nature. It could technically fall under celestial, though I'm mostly going to just probably leave it under animals and nature, even though it's a mythical animal. And then next is your Etsy ad. So if you are going to run ads on this, then you can turn that on there. And then you'll want to go ahead and select either automatic or manual. Manual means that you will need to renew expired listings yourself. So if you want to keep track of that, though I highly recommend that you just leave it on automatic, as the more listings that you get, this could be really, really hard to keep track of, and some of them might eventually not getting renewed that needed to be, and then you would be having to go back and do a bunch of extra work. So I would definitely leave it on automatic. And then after that, you will just hit publish, and it will give you a little disclaimer saying that it will cost 20 cents to publish this, and then it will be live on your shop. So over here in my shop now, I've just clicked on all, and it is here. It is the first listing right here. And so you can see that it came out perfectly fine if you are worried about checking that. Again, we publish all of ours at one time by hitting a bulk publish button over in Vela. And again, that video will be right here if you want to learn how to do that process along with combining your designs in bulk as well, so that you're kind of just batch working either 2 to 3 times per week if you are doing that much, or maybe if it's just 1 time a week like I'm currently doing, it will save you a ton of time. So after you've published your listings, you don't just want to set them and forget them. While Etsy is a search engine, I teach my members in my community that they should also be driving their own traffic to see way more sales than just by getting what is available on the platform and waiting for their SEO to kick in and rankings to happen. So to do this, I recommend either things like starting a Facebook group. Sublimation designs are hugely popular over on Facebook. And so if you want to start a Facebook group, that is a great way. I was able to build mine up to over 10,500 people in just about 2 years. And I also was marketing these before on Pinterest, which worked well, and TikTok as well if you want to do video. I will say that TikTok can be really powerful and really great. However, it requires you to actually film and make a video of, say, the process of making the design or showing your designs. Screenshots generally do not work as well. And if that is something that you don't want to do, then I would recommend going to Pinterest or the Facebook group route, because you can easily just post your Etsy photo listings and get extra traffic that way. I do want to go over a few more really key important things when it comes to selling these types of designs on Etsy. Do keep in mind that this is a volume game or a numbers game, meaning that you are not just probably going to see a great amount of success by putting up 10 or 20 or even 100 listings. Most people in my group do not see significant amounts of sales until they hit after a 500 sale mark. That is not to say that you have to have 500 listings up before you start seeing sales, but it's generally when new sellers have made enough designs to get good as far as their design quality, their SEO side, and so it really is just practice makes perfect when it comes to this type of product. It's also super important to keep up with design styles and what is trending, and so to do this, you can go to places like Pinterest or Shein or AliExpress. Even Amazon is good, and also TikTok, to see what is happening in those platforms and those marketplaces, because it tends to show a little bit of what will happen on Etsy as far as the design space goes eventually. When you are designing in the trending pop culture side of things, it's really important to capitalize on that early and get a head start as fast as possible when the new trends pop up, like for example, again, the coquette theme. And to do this is to use research tools that are out there, or you can even look at joining a group like my group. Again, I focus on daily trending products as well as the prompts to create them and also the SEO that goes along with them. So it really is an all-in-one way to get a quick head start on creating these types of products. There's also so much support in there and many design tutorials to help you along in your journey. So I highly recommend it, as many of my members have seen hundreds, if not thousands, of sales within their first few months of starting. And so it is a really great place to connect with like-minded Etsy sellers and be able to learn as to what's selling and how to create prompts as quickly as possible. Again, I do recommend watching this video here next if you are interested in learning how to bulk create your designs, then bulk mock them up and bulk list them over to Etsy so that you can save yourself a ton of time versus doing it all individually like I showed in this video. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.